you've had with.
I mean, that's like a perfect segue to talk about the Rootsmakers, because
Yeah.
that whole thing happened because of the YouTube.
Wow.
If you were to search YouTube reggae drummer,
Yeah, I already know.
Kerrigan reggae drummer
Yep.
will show up, and it's this like amazing studio in France. The drum tones are just like to die for, you know?
Yeah.
And people are always like, "Hey, I want it. Like, do you have a drum pack that sounds like this?" And they'll link that video, and I'm like, "That's my buddy Kerrigan. What's up?"
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember I just commented on a video of his that was about reggae toms, and it was like, yeah, and so then the mix engineer, will take it and make it sound better, right? He was like explaining that, and I'm like, bro, I could be that mix engineer. So I'm commenting, I'm like, hey, we should do a collab, and he knew who I was from my channel,
Wow.
which was sick. So I hit him up, and we made a rhythm for the channel, and actually there's a video on it. I think it's called mixing the rhythm section or something.
Nice.
I don't know. It's a 2-part series where I mix his drums, like kind of
Wow.
on an episode, and then I add bass and I add the whole rhythm section, and I even hit people up on Facebook. I was like, hey, are there any horn players in the house? Like, do you want to get in on this, episode? And yeah, 3 different people, John Roy being one,
Nice.
who's from San Diego, and who I've done dubs for now, like, to answer your question.
Wow.
He did horns, some sax, and I got a trumpet and a trombone. And anyways, and then I showed how to mix that. And really it's like, it's not like this is how to mix reggae. It's just like, this is a practical example of what you could do, or what I hear,
Yeah.
and like what to do with the frequencies and the mix and that. So but yeah, and then that episode was great, and he hit me up. He's like, hey, I got a buddy, Organics, who plays keys. He's my, he lives here in France too. Like, do you want to do an album?
Wow.
And I'm like, do I want to do an album with Kerrigan reggae drummer? Let me think. Like, yes. So we did, man. And I ended up playing bass and guitar, which I'm not a great guitarist, man, but I just faked it till I made it. And we did the first Rootsmakers album.
Yeah.
Which we pressed, actually. There's a vinyl of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And so just that was such an amazing experience working with him. And like, I'm coming up on 4 years of drums, but like I said earlier in the interview, if I don't play, like, my timing just goes away. This guy, we paid for studio time, and he crushed 10 songs in one session.
Wow.
And like, those were the starting points for our songs. And then
Yeah.
we sent it to Organics, and he did all the keys. And then I sent it back to me, and I did the bass, and I added the guitar and the percussions, and that was it. And it's just
Yeah.
an instrumental album, and there's like just rhythms, and then a dub version. So it's a double album that's
Yeah.
that's on Spotify there, and it's just called Rootsmakers.
Yeah. I love Solid as a Mountain. That's my favorite cut off that one.
Yeah, is
Like,
that
the
a
organ parts are so cool on that.
Solid as Mountain? Is that one is that one major?
Wait, let me see.
I can't remember it.
Like,
I'm
like the
terrible.
organ's like diddly, diddly, or something.
Oh yeah,
Wait, hold on.
Organics is sick, man.
Let me pull it up
Yeah.
real quick. Yeah, I don't know if my singing helped.
No.
clarify what song that was.
You got it.
Yeah, here. Let me pull this thing up real quick. Yeah, Solid as a Mountain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doodle. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that one is so sick. And yeah, all the dubs are awesome too. I'm assuming that you did the dubs on that one too.
Yeah, for sure, man. I loved that. That was so much fun.
Yeah, and for a little sneak preview for everybody, we're gonna have Kahn do a little bit of live dubbing a little later on. So he'll demonstrate some of his magic for us. And I'm
Yeah,
really
man.
excited for that.
I'm looking forward to doing a little bit of dub.
Yeah.
I got the effects like all set up. It's gonna be sick. Okay, so before we end talking about Rootsmakers, I just wanted to so we did that first album, right? And then because I'm not a great guitarist is the real reason. We're like, hey, Kerrigan was like, hey, my next door neighbor is named Reggie, and he's this
What the heck?
amazing dread, like such a epic guitar player, dude. Like just rips solos, like it's like he's with one arm. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started. We're like, we should do an EP because I'm like, guys, that album was like way too much for me because like, yeah. Anyway, I'm not complaining, but it was a lot of work, and So we're like, let's do an EP and let's do one for the summer. Let's make it like, let's do a lovers rock one because we all love lovers rock, and so we conceptualized, okay, let's make 4 or 5 rhythms and let's try to find like different artists, to feature. And so we got Lyndon John X, which is a Canadian, I forget what it's called. It's like the Canadian Grammys. He won.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Juno. That's what it's called. He won a Juno
Junos,
for reggae, and he's just an amazing singer, man. He actually did that Big Ship rhythm that I recreated. Super, super amazing reggae singer. Yeah. And we got him, and then we got 3 Islanders. So we got Kapena Mokiao, who's my buddy. Yep. Love you, Kapena. And my buddy Damon Williams, who is like, he's like my older brother's age, but man, he's just like, he can do like 20 stacked vocals. Like, and then he's like, oh yeah, and then I throw the auto tune on, and I'm like, bro, you don't need the auto tune like at all. It's like Hawaiians roll out of their mom and they're like singing like on key,
Perfect harmonies.
Yeah. So we got him and the wicked Guamanian Jacob Eosia JC.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one did really well for the Rootsmakers, man.
Yeah.
Like we came out of nowhere doing one instrumental album, and that one hasn't had a lot of views. It since the Lovers EP. But yeah, that one has done really well, and it's super cool. So yeah, I'm just super stoked about the Rootsmakers and those guys. But then a while went on, and we did a couple more releases with Kapena Mokiao, but like they really didn't hit the algorithm or whatever you want to call it. And they're amazing songs. You got to check them out. Kapena Mokiao and the Rootsmakers. But like then we just kind of grew apart a little bit, and really it was me. And like I had stopped kind of doing YouTube videos so much, and I just started focusing on the studio build. And like, I really just want to be able to play every instrument so that like, it might take me a night to like warm up and then record that part. And then do, I can crush the bass real quick. The piano's pretty easy. Rhythm guitar is not too hard, I'm getting the bubble and the clav. Like that's tough to do at the same time, but like, that's legit, man. That's how Earl Waya Lindo used to rip it on the Wailers, So I want to be able to be like a true reggae musician, like multi-instrumentalist. So, they were asking me, hey, like what's going on? Like, are we going to do more? And I'm like, yes, we will. But like, I'm on a journey. I'm on a path right now. And he's like, I get it.
Con men too.
Yeah. Kerrigan's like, I get it, bro. I get the vision. He's like, learn the trombone. He's like, do it. Yes, please do it.
Yeah.